Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. How is everyone? Hope that you all are well. Your computer science teacher is there with one more lecture, with one more paper that we are solving together. That is your computer science paper 2, algorithms, programming and logic 0478, paper 2-3. It's of May, June 2025. The duration of the paper is 1 hour 45 minutes. You have to answer on the question paper. No additional materials are needed. Now the instructions. You have to answer all the questions. You have to use a black or dark blue pen. You're allowed to use HB pencil for any diagrams or graphs. You have to write your name, center number, and candidate number in the given boxes. You have to write the answer to each question in the given space. Do not use an erasable pen or correction fluid. Do not write on any barcodes. Calculators must not be used in the paper. Total marks are 75 and the number of marks for each question or part question are given in brackets. There is no mark awarded for using the brand names, so please refrain from using the brand names. Question number 1. The flow chart shows an algorithm used for quality control on a biscuit production line. The weight of each biscuit is entered into the variable weight. Now let's start analyzing. The first thing is the weight of each biscuit is entered into the variable weight. If the weight of the biscuit is between 16.2 and 17.2 grams inclusive, the pass counter is incremented by 1. Otherwise, the reject counter is incremented by 1. So pass counter is increased by 1 in case it is passing through this stage, like a sort of a rain check is applied here. The pass counter will be increased by 1 in case it's meeting the criteria. Otherwise, the reject counter will be increased by 1 if it's not meeting the criteria. The process continues until -1 is entered. Now, it means that -1 is stopping your process. It's basically a count control rule. Fine. Is entered, after which the totals for pass and rejected counter are output. Now, this is going to be the situation. What are we supposed to output? The total for pass and reject counters are output once the loop is over. Now, this is a part of the flowchart that is given to you. You can see it's starting with star, the symbol, then pass count equals to 0, reject count equals to 0. The two variables are initialized, and then we have a few empty boxes. First one, let's analyze. This box is for input. This box is for decision making. Another decision making is here. And luckily, they have mentioned the no and the yes for you to comprehend. And once this is there, it means it will be going to stop the process, as you can see. But before that, it is outputting two results. This is the symbol for input and output. So one definitely will be there for input and another one will be there for output. So two outputs are needed. Definitely the output were for reject total and the accept total, the one that is pass count or a reject count. And by the way, this is what we are supposed to, I have explained it to you. Now I just am giving you very quickly 2 minutes to fill in these boxes, and then we will discuss the answers. I've given you the hint. This is the input box. This is the decision. This is also the decision. And this decision is going to be when this decision is incorrect. No, this decision is false. No, it will move here. And then it will be again a decision is here with yes and a decision is here with a no. And just very quickly do it. Try to do it, and then we will discuss the answer together. Remember, the situation is given to you, and the situation is this one. Okay, now this will be your input of weight. Fine. And then a decision will be here. And this decision will be checked then. Input weight, as you can see. This is a very simple thing that we have done here. Input of weight is taken. And then after that, we have to go for the decision. Is weight. And because we're just checking the condition. Because this is dealing with the yes thing, it has to end the loop. And the process continues until -1. Is weight equals to -1? Now this is your situation. Is weight equals to -1? Yes. So we have to output the, and since they are containing two boxes, means that I have to output with a proper message the, I'm just using the keywords here, so you can just help them, you can just get the help. Output of passCount and passCount. And output of the next one was our reject count. So output of pass count and reject count. Just for you to see the size of the, I think that makes sense. And very quickly fill in these boxes. They are dealing with the range, and this is the range that is given to you. I hope that we are done. Okay, now let's see the final answer. Now you can see this is the sample, this is the final answer. As you can see, start, pass count equals to 0, assignment operator 0, reject count, assignment operator 0 was given to us. Input weight, as we said, is a weight equals to -1. Yes, output pass count and output reject count. And then we are stopping. If that is not the case, so here we can see this is basically the use of our condition. As you can see, is weight greater than or equal to 16.2 and weight less than or equal to 17.2. So this was the given criteria. Yes, pass count equals to pass count plus 1. Else, reject count equals to reject count plus 1. And we are finishing, like we are looping back. And the input will be taken again. If that equals to -1, it will stop. Otherwise, it will keep on working. And once -1 is entered, then it will be finishing the loop. It will be finishing the loop with the output of the pass count and the reject count. I think that is simple, understood by everyone. Only the thing that was supposed to be done here was the use of the length check, or the use of the range check actually. So I think that is very simple. We all are okay with this, and we are done with the counting of the pass count and the reject count. Now moving to part B, question number 1. Explain how you would alter the flowchart in 1A so that it calculates and outputs the average weight of only the biscuits that pass the weight check. Means the ones that are passing the weight check. So this is what is the alteration that is supposed to be explained by us calculates and outputs average weight of only the biscuits that have passed the weight check. You may include program statements or flowchart symbols in your answer, but they must be fully explained. Now, this is my requirement. How will I score the marks? Marking point 1. Definitely, since I want to output the average weight, so I can initialize a new variable at the beginning, the way we have initialized two variables here. So another variable will be initialized here, and that variable will be meant to handle the total weight of the biscuits, because for average we need total. So this is the first thing that I need here. I need to total the weights also, and this will be near the point where passCount is incremented, or after the yes, I have to include a process box. So just be clear, I have to first of all perform one thing, that is the use of a total variable, and that will be just placed here like passCount is incremented after the yes, and add a new process box to add the weight of the current box to the current to add, and this will be done to add the weight of the current biscuit to the running total. Now what will I write here? Now total equals to, now assume that I have the variable by the name, just giving you a hint for your own self, that like so that you can comprehend, just giving you a hint for you to understand that if, for example, I have the variable by the name total, so I'll simply say total assignment operator total plus and the weight, and this line is supposed to be definitely added somewhere after passCount, after the yes is there, and then it will be done. Like this is what is actually explained here. So something like this will be done here. Near the passCount, we have to include a decision box, and after the decision box, we have to include a process box, and in this we will be mentioning this whole process. With that will be including the total weight to be increased by the weight, and outside the loop we have to calculate the average weight. Now another thing that I need to do here is, after that I have to, outside the loop I have to calculate. Now be clear, outside the loop is important. Calculate calculate the average weight as total weight divided by number of biscuits that have divided by passCount. So simple. And very important thing is outside the loop. Be clear, outside the loop is very, very important, because calculation is done only once, and then I have to output the average weight also again outside the loop. So in this manner, my whole process will be done accurately. Inclusion of all these points will be mentioned to score 4 out of 4, and I'm done with my task. Okay, a little bit of what you have been doing in your pseudocode writing, the same thing is explained here, so that you can score the like 4 out of 4 marks, in order to mention the additions that need to be done, amendments that need to be done to get the average of the accepted biscuits to be printed, also to be output also. Now moving to question number 2. 3 uses of arithmetic operators and 4 results are shown. Draw one line from each use of arithmetic operator to the correct result. Not all results will be used. Now you can see there are 4 results on the right hand side and 3 operations on the left hand side. In which are they? 355 div 10, 355 divided by 10, 355 mod 10. So here they have asked us to explain how will we perform this. I think very simple. Now let's do it together. 355 divided by 10, simplest. That will be 335.5. Then 355 div 10. So I think we remember. What are we supposed to do? 355 will be divided by 10. And now let's do it. I think you all can do it also. 355 is here. Divided by 10 is here. And now when we divide it by 10, you can see 30, 10 times 3 is 30, and remainder is 5 in this case. So I get 5, and then 5 together. And then 5 is moved down, and 10 times 5 is 50, and then 50 is written here, and then we get the remainder of 5 here. So this remainder 5 is basically your this what? See, now this remainder 5 means it is your mod, and this 35 means this is the result of div. So that is why you have done the calculation here. You have done the calculation in the extra sheet that are given to you, and definitely you are able to figure it out. So simple. Now 355 mod 10, the answer will be 5. As we can see here, 355 div 10 will be 35 as we see here, and 355 will definitely not be a part of our answer. In this manner, 3 marks are ours. Question number 3. The purpose of the pseudocode algorithm is to carry out a bubble sort to sort in a descending order 1000 numbers stored in a one-dimensional array. This is your pseudocode, you can see. Declare values array 1:1000 of real, declare index char, declare stop boolean, declare hold real, stop equals to false, while not stop, do. Stop equals to false, and then we are just starting a loop for index equals to 1 to 50. If values index plus 1 is greater than values of index, then hold equals to values of index. Now, hold is actually a temporary variable. Here it's working just like the temporary variable. Values of index equals to values of index plus 1, and values of index plus 1 equals to hold. Stop equals to false, end if, next index, next stop. Now, just these are your actually your problems are definitely here. Identify the line numbers of 4 errors in the pseudocode and suggest a correction for each error. I'm giving you 2 minutes. Identify, and then you'll do them together. Hope that you have identified. Now let's do it together very quickly. The first error, as you can see, this is values is an array, perfect. And then index. Index is meant to handle what? Index is meant to handle the loop, actually the for loop. So definitely it can't be jar. Then you can see this is your first error as you have identified. Line number 2, declare index is a char. That is wrong. It should have been the correction will be declare index colon integer. Then another error is in line number 7, stop equals to false inside the while loop is incorrect. It should be stop equals to true. Because if it is ending, it is entering, the value of stop should be initialized with, it should be reinitialized with the value of true. And then another one is in line number 8. It should be for index equals to 1 to 50 is wrong. It should have been for index equals to 1 to 1000 minus 1 or 1 to 999. That is the right thing, because when you are inside the loop, then you can see it's 1 to 50 is wrong, because we don't have 50 elements, we have 1000 elements. That's why the third error is in line number 8. For index arrow 1 to 50 is wrong, which should happen for index equals to 1 to 999. The number of iterations in the pass are always 1 less than the number of elements, or simply keep it this way. Or if the child has written for index assignment operator 1 to 1000 minus 1, that is also perfectly okay. And one thing that you must have identified accurately, that is the use of the next here, which is completely wrong. It should have been an end while here. So you have identified it accurately. The mistakes are here. The mistakes are here. Line number 7, line number 8, line number 17, and your line number, this one. So this is actually a problem, and you can see yourself that y. The y is also answered. Index should definitely be an integer variable, because that is used for count for the for loop. We have to reinitialize stop with the true value once it has entered the outer, once it has entered the outer loop, and now it is about to start the inner loop. And then another thing is going to be the use of Next, in case the next is wrong, it should have been since it is a while loop, that's why it should be an end while loop. Now, part B, the swap section in lines 11 to 13 of the existing code are to be changed to a call statement for a procedure. This procedure will include two parameters representing the indexes of the array elements to be swapped. Now, this is really interesting. Now, we have to write a procedure, and this procedure will be getting two parameters. So we are supposed to complete the pseudocode for the procedure swap. And this is a procedure where a few things are written for me, and I need to simply go for completing the whole procedure. Now you can see, since it's a procedure swap, it is getting two parameters, and both the parameters are going to hold the locations, and that is why they both are integers. So index 1 and index 2 integer declaration, they are written as the parameters. As you can see, this procedure will include two parameters representing the indexes of the array elements to be swapped. Indexes means it will definitely be an integer value. That's why I can see index 1 integer, index 2 integer, and it finishes my line number 1. Declare hold real was written for me, hold, and then arrow, assignment operator, values. Values was the array name. And definitely in this, I'll be holding the first location. So index 1 and then values index 1 is now free. So definitely it will now be holding values index 2, and values index 2 will now hold the value of hold. So these are the empty lines that were given to me to be filled in. Index 1, the first location's data, and the second location's data. So values, first location's data will be moved to hold variable. Values, first location will now hold the value second location data. Value second location will now hold the value that is held in the variable hold. And that ends my procedure with the end procedure. It's a 4-mark question, and if you have done it with caution, if you have remembered the whole bubble sort, if you have remembered the procedure, then definitely you are able to score your marks. Now, part 2, write the pseudocode to transfer the control to procedure swap. And then what is needed actually, you have to use the correct call command and use of swap for procedure name, the two parameters. So if the child has written this accurately, then it means first location and second location. So swap index plus 1 comma index. So definitely second location is going to be mentioned here. So if index is first, so definitely second location and first location's data will be passed on as parameters to the procedure swap. So the keyword call and then swap, and then mentioning this is going to give you 2 out of 2. So correct call statement, correct call command is being used with the swap word. The name of the procedure will give you 1 point, and second point will be the use of the right parameters, index plus 1 and index. So this is going to be giving you, and the use as it is present in the original algorithm. You are not supposed to change it at all. This is extremely important to score 2 out of 2. So that will give you 2 out of 2 in your answer. Now explain the difference between global variables and the variable declared in 3b1. Now which variables have we declared there? So global variables, you remember, can be used throughout the program and its procedures, and the memory used by the variable is not recovered until the program terminates. While when you talk about the variable declared in part 3b1 is a local variable and can only be used in that procedure. The memory used by the local variable is recovered at the end of the procedure. So this is the difference. Global variable is available throughout the program. It can be used throughout the program and procedures, and its memory is available only when the program terminates. While when you talk about the local variables, they can only be used inside the procedure, and the moment the procedure finishes, then at the end of the procedure, the memory becomes available, as we have done it in the class. If you remember, we have done the global and the local variables, and you must be clear about that. Now, question number 4. An input must be an integer between 10 and 95 inclusive. State the validation check that state the type of validation check to test if the input meets the requirement, and you know very well this is your brain check, your favorite one. Now moving to the next one, part B, part 2, A2. It suggests variables such as suitable, abnormal, and extreme test data for the integer between 10 and 95 inclusive. They've only asked us about abnormal and extreme data and give a reason for each. Now we can see abnormal is any value. Like if I mention 150, I mention maybe I mentioned 200, that's perfectly okay because that is outside the range. Any value as that's why it is mentioned for your understanding. So any non-integer or any integer value that is outside the range of 10 and 95. So that will be definitely the right answer that you have written. And the reason is the data is outside the range, so it should be rejected. This should be the key term that you need to mention. Please be clear, the term rejected. So extreme data is the same for every, like for everyone will be answering either to 10. That means this is the smallest data entry that will be accepted by the program, or 95, that is the largest data entry that will be accepted again by the program. But just remember, you need to mention the smallest and the largest acceptable values, and that is going to give you 4 marks for mentioning the right data and the example also. Now, part B, a password system requires all new passwords to contain at least 12 characters. State the type of validation check to test that the password meets the requirement. At least 12 characters means it can go beyond 12, but not less than 12. So it means that the right validation check for this situation is going to be your length check. And this will give you 1 mark. The next part 2, write this pseudocode statement to allow a new password to be entered and to ensure that it contains at least 12 characters. The password is re-input until it meets this requirement. Use an appropriate error message for inputs that do not meet the requirement. It's a 5-mark question. How can you score your marks? And it's written very clearly that you do not need to declare any variables for this algorithm. So be clear, there's no mark awarded. So we are not going to declare the variables at all. Our marking points are going to be appropriate condition control loop, because that cannot be handled without the condition control loop. We are also going to pay attention that the password input to the variable is going to be there. Use of length function to find the password length. Selection statement, check the password length is at least 12 characters. Error message, if length incorrect, is inside the loop, and that should be inside the loop. Correct loop termination for password if the correct length is entered. So these are your marking points. Again, you can see the question that we have to handle it with a condition control loop. Our for loop or our count control loop will not be the right choice in this case. Now you can see this is done through both, like whichever you are okay with, you can opt for that. It can either be done with repeat until loop or with a while do and while loop. Now you can see what is done here. First is repeat input password. If length of password is less than 12, because it said at least 12 means less than 12 should not be accepted. Then output password too short, please try again, and end if. We are stopping the if condition here until length of password is greater than or equal to 12. Means it will keep on asking the user to input the password if the length of the password is less than 12. Fine. Now the same thing is now done. You can see the difference. Since I'm doing it with a while loop, that's why input is taken twice. While length of password is less than 12. See, if for example, I entered the length of password maybe as 5. So 5 is something, just giving you an example so you can comprehend. I entered maybe 5. The length of the password maybe was AB. Just giving you an example, although it is not a good password. ABCDE. Fine. So ABCDE is 5 characters. So 5 is less than 12. So definitely it will be prompting you to enter the loop, and there will be a message for the user. And before that, another check is made. If length of password is less than 12, then output password too short, please try again, end if, and the user is prompted to enter the password again. So whether the task is done with the repeat until loop or the task is handled through a while loop, In both the cases, this is going to give you 5 out of 5 because you have entered all the particular requirements properly. Repeating, input password, while length of password is less than 12, do if length of password is less than 12, then output password too short, please try again. And if input of password again, and please do not forget to input the password once again, otherwise you will not be able to get the task done appropriately. Please be very careful that you have to mention this thing here. Your input of password is something that is needed to be done here definitely. Okay, I think it's very simple. This is done, and this will give you 5 out of 5. Input of password twice, one before you enter the loop, because it may happen that the password is entered properly. Like if I entered A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, for example. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, for example. It's more than 12 characters. So in this case, it will definitely, length of password is not less than 12. So it will not enter again. But in case I entered A, B, C, D, E, so it will be checking the length of password is less than 12. Yes. Condition true. It enters the loop. It checks the length of the password once again, and then output a message for the user and input password again. And while will send it back to the while loop. So if you have entered the password correctly now, it will not re-enter. As we know that while works when condition is true. And if the value is, if the length of the password is above 12, so it will not prompt you again. It will be moving out of the loop. Same is repeat. If you're okay with repeat, go ahead with repeat. If you think that you are more happy with the use of while loop, more comfortable, go ahead with the while loop. Okay? I think it's simple. Understood well. 5 marks are going to be yours. Marking points are given and 5 marks are yours. Next question. Question number 5. A computer uses a database table component to store the stock details of a range of components needed to build computer systems. Complete the table by giving appropriate data types for each field. Only the data types text, character, Boolean integer, real, datetime are available in this database. You can see the descriptions are given along with the field. ID, unique identifier. So a student can go for text or integer. They both will be accepted because they have not given us an example. Yes. Name, component name will be text only. Description, component description will be text only. Price, selling price of component to 2 decimal places. Since it is component to 2 decimal places, that's why it will be a real value. Moving to the next one, we can see number available, number in stock, that is definitely an integer. Minimum level at which the component is reordered, that is also an integer. Reorder level is your basic thing, and that is mentioned here. That is a Boolean one, whether or not the component has been reordered, whether or not, that is going to be a Boolean value, whether or not, fine. And date ordered, the date the component was reordered, that will be date time. So in this manner, you will be able to score your marks. Okay. Now, part B. Complete this SQL statement to list only the unique identifier, component name, and reorder date of all the components that have been reordered. So that is what is the thing. Select ID, name, date ordered, the 3 values separated by a comma, from component where. So these were the 3 words that were given to me and I was supposed to fill in. So I have taken unique identifier means ID, component name means name, and reorder date means date ordered. Be cautious. You have to use exactly the variables or the things that is mentioned in the structure. Otherwise, you will not be able to score your marks. From component is the name of the table where reordered equals to true. That because they're asking and reorder date of all the components that have been reordered means the components have a reorder value or reordered variable is going to be a yes or a true. And that will give you 4 out of 4. Mentioning the right details, mentioning the table name correctly, mentioning the where condition properly, and you will be able to score your marks. Question number 6. This pseudocode represents an algorithm Complete the trace table for the algorithm using input data computer. Now let's see what the pseudocode is. Declare store array 1 colon 1000 of char, declare word string, declare index integer, declare letter char, and input word for index assignment operator 1 to length of word, letter assignment operator substring word comma index comma 1, case of letter a, letter equals letter will be storing an empty string e, I, o, u. In all the cases when the letter is containing a, e, I, o, or u, the letter will be holding a quotations open, quotations close, and in case. Now, case of letter and case store of index will be the letter. So whatever the situation is, if it's A, E, I, O, U, a vowel, so it will be storing an empty string there. Otherwise, it will be storing the letter there. In all cases, you can see whatever the case is, whether it's a vowel or a consonant, in all cases, it will be storing in the array index, in the array store, the letter value at the index position. Now next index will finish, and then we are simply going to go for a loop for index equals to 1 to length of word. If store of index is not equal to empty string, then output store of index and if. Now this is your pseudocode that is explained here. The word is computer. So just apply it here. Let's do it together very quickly and you'll be able to do the rest. I'm sorting it. This is my array store containing 100 elements. The word is computer. As you can see, input word. So the first value that is entered in this example is computer. So that will be moving to the variable word. For index equal to 1 to length of word. So length of word means it will be working how many times? COMPUTER means it will be working 8 times. Fine. 1 to 8. And inside this, we are doing what? We are simply picking up each letter one by one. First time letter equals to substring word, comma, index, comma, 1. So you can see first time it will be picking the letter C. This is the first time your index value is 1. As you can see here, the value of index is 1 and letter is C that is picked up. And it is going to be checked. Definitely C is not belonging to a vowel. It's not in vowel. So it will be simply storing in the index position the letter value. Means, as you can see, index is 1. So it is storing the letter C there. It moves up and then it will be picking the next letter. So first time it has picked C, then it will be picking the letter O. Again, the loop is repeated because it has to work 8 times in our example. Then you can see now O is picked. The second and the value of letter is O. So this is now meeting the criteria. So here we can see when the letter O is picked, it will be storing the index, will be holding an empty string. As you can see, nothing is here. And then it moves up and now the value of M is going to be picked. So when M is picked, again, you can see it's not a vowel. So that is why M is picked, and since it is not a vowel, that's why it is stored in the third location. And then again, then P is picked, the same process is repeated. Since it is not a vowel again the same process, it is stored in location number 4. And then now it is picking letter U. So now letter U is meeting the criteria. It's a vowel. So it is, you can see here, it is going to be an empty string in location number 5. And then T is picked. And again, the same thing, if you have understood it, it's simple, one by one, picking up each letters from the given word and just checking. And you can see the loop is going to iterate 8 times because of picking all the letters one by one from the word, from the variable word and storing it in the variable letter, which is a character variable, COMPUTER. Again, U, empty, then T is stored, and then E is also a vowel, that is again an empty string, then R is there, and this is how the whole process will be done. I hope that you are done. Very quickly attempt the rest of the part and then we will do it after a minute. Okay, now I think you are done with this whole process. Now this is simply after the whole process is done, then it is going to be another loop for index equals to 1 to length of word 8 times. If store of index is not equal to empty string, then output store of index. So here we can see in the beginning, when the first loop is done, it's simply the storing of the constants in the array. And then you can see it's going to be actually storing or an empty string in this in this. And here, once the loop is over, then another loop is going to iterate 8 times, and it will simply be checking. If it's not empty, then pick the value and display it. Otherwise, definitely nothing is there. So that is how you can see. So simple. Now they're asking, describe the process in the algorithm. Each letter of a word is checked to see if it's an A, E, I, or U, or a vowel. Vowels are changed to the null string using a case statement. Each letter or null string is individually stored in the array. All consonants are output. So this is what we have done right now explained, and that is what is output only, and you will gain 3 out of 3. So simple. Now moving to the question, question number 7, draw the symbol for a NOR logic gate and complete the truth table for it. Just be clear, if you have drawn the NOR gate properly, you have written its truth table properly, this is the symbol for NOR gate. And as you remember, NOR is simply the opposite of OR, and that means the OR gate is 0 1 1 1, so the NOR gate will be 1 0 0 0. And in this manner, in a very short time, you will be able to score the 2 marks. Now part B. Now this is the question, part B. Consider the roles in the following table. There are 3 inputs, L, M, S. L is a 0 if it's a dark, and L is 1 when it's light. M is motion, no motion detected, or M is 1 when motion is detected. S, sound. When no sound is detected, it's a value containing 0, and if sound is detected, then it's going to be a value 1. A security system uses sensors to sound an alarm if an intruder is detected. The alarm sounding is represented by the output A equals to 1. Alarm sounds if it is dark and if either motion or sound or both motion and sound are detected. Now, this is something that you need to understand. Now, first thing is the alarm sound if it is dark. If it is dark, so what will we do here? You can see the first thing is if it's dark, means this is your first condition, as you can see. If it's dark, this is your first condition, as you can see here. And if either motion or sound or both motion and sound are detected. So this is your question, as you can see. And this is what we need to do. This is your question. Go on, start reading it, and let's try to do it. You can see for yourself, is your answer matching with mine? Now here we can see not L, because it is going to be dark, because you can see a dark means it will be not L. and because of this situation, and if either motion or sound, either motion or sound or both. Now this is a little tricky, you can see for yourself. M or S, motion or sound, M or S, or both motion and sound. So this is going to be or M and S. So this is M or S or M and S, and it is with an and situation. So this is going to be, this seems to be a little tricky, but it is simple if you have understood how to interpret, and I hope that you all have reached the same answer as I have done. Now complete the truth table for the security systems. Once you have read this, it will be very easy for you to handle this. Now, first thing is, just to make it understandable, not L, M or S, M and S, and lastly M or S or M and S. Now you can see not L means the reversal of L. 0 0 0 0 1 1 1 1 becomes 1 1 1 1 0 0 0 0. Simple. M or S. So you can see 0 or 0 is a 0, 0 or 1 is a 1, 1 or 0 is a 1, 1 or 1 is a 1, 0 or 0 is a 0, 0 or 1 is a 1, 1 or 0 is a 1, and 1 or 1 is a 1. So this is your value for M or S. Now M and S, only when both the inputs of M and S are yes, only then the result will be a 1. So here we can see the situation is 1 and 1 here, and 1 and 1 is here. So you can see in this situation, that is why you can see 1 and 1 is yielding the result of 1 in these two cases only. Now, lastly, we have M or S or M and S. In this case, we will take help of these two, and we will be handling with an OR. So the operation is an OR. Any one signal being a 1, we will take a 1. So you can see this is a 1, that is a 1, it is a 1. This is a 1, 1 or 1 is a 1, 0 or 0 is a 0, 1 or 0 a 1, 1 or 0 a 1, 1 or 1 is a 1. And lastly, we are going to work on the last one, A, and that is not L and this. So we look at this one, and an AND operation performed. When both the ones are there, only then the result will be a 1. So he can see here, 1 and 0 is a 0, 1 and 1 is a 1, 1 and 1 is a 1, 1 and 1 is a 1. So just pay attention. These are my two columns that I need to refer to. This is my column for not L. This is my column for this one. And only if the result is a 1, only then the answer is going to be a 1. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 0 0 is a 0, 0 or 1 is a 0, 0 or 1 is a 0, and 0 or 1 is a 0. This is going to give you 4 marks. Jazakallah khairan kasira for being a part of the learning journey. Stay tuned for more videos, and inshallah the scenario based question of this paper will be uploaded very soon. Stay tuned. Take very good care of yourselves and your loved ones. May Allah bless you. Share with your friends and family. Allah Hafiz.